Hello everybody and welcome to Trackmania, and what you're seeing ahead of you right here is the monstrosity called Deep Dip 2. This is a tower map with 16 floors and no checkpoints whatsoever, similar to games like Getting Over It and Jump King and stuff. And this map came out about a month ago, and that's also when Ludwig reached out to me and said, hey, Wirtual, do you want to be a part of this speedrun event I'm doing? And I said, yeah, and I'll probably want to do this map, but with checkpoints. But because there's an ongoing competition to get to the top of this tower first, and because no one has done it yet, I actually cannot build a map with checkpoints. That would sort of ruin the competition, as it would leak the top floors and everything. So, in a last-minute effort, we came up with a different format, and this is what I'll be doing. I'm going to give myself 1 hour, and I'm going to try to reach the start of floor 11. So out of the 16 floors, I'm going to reach start of floor 11. To date, only about 10 players have ever done that. It's a very difficult challenge. And every time I fall, if I lose all my progress, I will donate $100 to the charity. If I get to floor 11 without any falls, I'm going to donate $200 to the charity. But either way, we're raising money, we're having fun, we're playing Trackmania, and I'm ready to get going. So yeah, if you want to count me in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's begin. Let's begin the climb. 1 hour of climbing. Up this map. Now, just so you know how insanely difficult this is, all the best players in Trackmania have played this game for over 10 years. I myself have played this game since 2013. I've played it for 11 years now. So we all have about 10,000 plus hours in the game as a baseline. This map came out the 3rd of May, and since then we've all put in about 200 hours each, the top players. And yet none of us have reached the top. And the problem with this map, compared to some other Faudian games, like Getting Over It and Jump King and stuff, is, well, one, the falls are going to be a lot more punishing. The map has a lot of open spaces, it's 3D, you can just fall between obstacles everywhere. The other problem is something called turtling, where the car at any point can land upside down. And if that happens, there's a high probability you get stuck. And then you're just soft locked, you have to reset the game, or reset the entire run. So the map starts out quite peacefully. The first floors are pretty forgiving. There's some different surfaces that you see here. This is ice, this shiny surface, and the blue stuff right here is plastic, which has very high acceleration. It's a very snappy surface, and it has some more interesting properties as well. Primarily that when you're upside down, then the car can bounce on the surface. The car can never actually crash or lose speed on plastic. And you're gonna see that later. Here you see a little bit of a backflip. And then we go up to one more ice slide, a quite tricky skill check here. You have to put the car sideways, carry speed 177 to make this jump. And I'm gonna barely get across. I'm gonna get onto this beam. Oh, and almost got trolled here, but it's fine. We survived. We're already about 2 minutes of driving in, and almost at floor 2. You need 250 speed on this. I have 259. That's gonna give a pretty nice plastic bounce to floor 2. Now, this floor is very difficult. It starts with a jump where you crash this pillar to stop on this block. Then I have to glide across here. That's good. Get the wheels over and now stabilize this landing. Oh no. Oh no. We're upside down. But it's on purpose. This is one of the things that also makes this really weird. It's that on Deep Dip, there are parts you actually have to drive upside down on purpose. And if you mess that up, you're just dead. You're gone. Tricky jump here. Over to this block. Gonna land in a drift. And we're coming up to the hardest jump of this floor, which has been coined the messy jump. And the reason is that if you have a bit of vivid imagination and you've lost your mind on Deep Dip 2, then you might be able to picture Lionel Messi going for the penalty kick, getting past the goalie, hitting a plastic towel to bounce back into the net, and he scores. We have completely lost our mind on this. There's something called Tetris effect, where if you play a lot of Tetris, you start seeing things. You start seeing the Tetris blocks everywhere you go. You kind of get the same feeling playing this map a lot. But it's a very exciting competition to get to the top. So far, about 30,000 players have downloaded and tried Deep Dip, based on stats we have with a plugin. And out of those 30,000 people, this is gonna sound crazy. If you make it to this next block, if you make it to the start of floor 3, then you are in the top 1%, like top 300. Out of 30,000 players, only 300 have made it to this block or further. And there's still a lot more climbing to do. This floor again features a lot of different surfaces. You have ice and plastic here. This time the plastic is red. But if you look bottom right corner, you'll see these different symbols, a snowflake and a water drop. This indicates what effects are being applied to my tires. So right now I have wet tires and icy tires. And that combination on plastic lets me do ice slides. Here my tires are only wet, and now you have wet plastic, which is very slippery to drive on. To get the car into a wall hug here, and then stop it by going sideways. Now I'm gonna line up for a jump. Just gotta be a bit precise here. And then... oh, that was a horrendous landing, but I think we're gonna make it. Whew. And one more important property to talk about here is that water blocks will always save your car. So I mentioned it's scary to land upside down. Well, water blocks make it impossible to land upside down. So anywhere the mappers have placed water, it's specifically to always help you stay on your wheels. But we're coming up to the last jump of floor 3 here. So far, good progress. This jump can be passed with a bug slide, putting my car sideways and drifting now. And if I'm fancy... no, I'm not. Okay. You can also continue direct with speed here, but that was going to be a bit too risky. So floor 4. Each floor is built by a different mapper. This one is built by the mapper Sparkling W, and what's kind of cool is, because there's so many different map makers that have contributed on this project, you get to see a lot of different ideas. So the theme on this floor by Sparkling Water is that every block is skewed. It's slightly tilted. And that doesn't really change much, except it messes with players' muscle memory. Because you're so used to, you know, the maps being the same elevation, the same blocks being the same elevation. So here you have a very difficult quarter pipe jump across. Because of the tilt, it becomes very awkward, but we figured it out. Here, a fancy but also optimal 360 on the ice. Saves about 1 second. So you line up the car for that wall. Carry speed here, and now a difficult jump. First across the beam, then into this block, and I am not sure about this. But I have to commit for it anyways. Okay, we made it. It's not the line I usually go for. Set up here at the T of Trackmania for speed, jump to the grass. I'm going to do a small burnout. And then I'm going to jump, and now into this block. Where does it follow? Well, into this tunnel. And then... good, going to jump up on a plastic tile here. Now we're going to do a weird trick. This is a wall ride flick on dirt. So for whatever reason you have extra grip on these dirt wall rides, and you can do a spin jump there. And now we're almost at floor 5. Floor 5, Jesus. If you hear my voice being a bit, I don't know what the word is. Shatty? It's because I'm not in puberty, it's just I've been a bit sick the last couple of days. But I'm recovering pretty well. Start of floor 5 here, you again see different themes, different biome, and different obstacles as the mapper's ideas. This mapper, Jaka, decided to use a lot of plastic, so you will get to see some wild plastic interactions. And sort of the love-hate relationship Trackmania players have with plastic is that it makes for such unique tricks, but it's also somewhat unreliable. So here I'm going to go for a plastic bounce. I have to tilt my car upside down here, hit this plastic tile, and bounce up into the water. Now there are sometimes that doesn't work, which causes great frustration. But here it did, and we don't need to think about it. There's still more plastic tricks on this floor though. There's one plastic wall here that you can hug without losing speed. And then there's the wildest part of the floor, which I will need to focus a little bit for. I'm gonna go up this platform, and I need to get to 235 speed when I go through this booster. That is the first step. 233, it might still work. Gonna land backwards, hit this plastic wall, and then fly into this plastic wall here, bounce on this plastic tile, and make it to this water pool. And since water flips my car, I'm safe. But that was about 2 less speed than it should be, and made things very dangerous. And so knowing the speeds for these jumps, you can often predict what will happen. And we know basically most of the pitfalls and most of the things that can go wrong, but still it's very hard to adapt on the spot to things that happen. Last jump here of floor 5, and we're getting up to floor 6, built by the mapper Classic. This one has precise jumps. Precise jumps on thin beams, so I'm gonna need to just be quiet and focus. Good. Good. Now, more precision. That's good, and that's good. Stop here. Ooh, this is a bit sketch. It works. And now a plastic bounce here. Right there, that looks good. Stop on this ice platform. This block should have been water. Like here, we've had so many runs that land upside down and turtle. And you cannot turtle on ice, you lose. So that block could have been water. We still survive though. But it's a very scary point when you when you have no save states. I feel like I haven't really driven that point home. There's nothing to save me here. Like, I don't know how long we've been playing for now, maybe around 10 minutes. But if I fall, like, I will have to do the entire first 10 minutes again, and I just made a mistake. I hit the wall here, so I couldn't go up, but there is a backup. So let's not jinx this, but need to do this sequence of jumps once more. So the plastic bounce. Right there. Looks good. And looks cool as well. Like, plastic does look cool. It's just this fear of, will it actually work this time? Line up in between the pillars. I'm using the small little antenna at the car, from the car. If you look at the car now, there's this little pin. That's the perfect center of the car. And so there are places where I will use that to line up to ensure that I have like the exact line for something. There are also certain obstacles, like loops and stuff, that are just more visible in that camera perspective. But we're on floor 6. Almost done with it. There's a backwards driving part here, and it's forced because there are boosters that point against me. But since I'm driving backwards, they don't affect the car. It's another quirk of Trackmania. And then I can jump back up here. Now there's one more wall ride flick, and the mappers did place a water pool, as you're very likely to land upside down in this one. Set up for one more jump here. And now I am going to need your help in the chat soon, as we are about to pass by some very cute ducks. And it would be mighty disrespectful to not greet them. So everyone please type quack in the chat. Look at these ducks. There are so many of them. They're chilling out here. Every time we pass by them on this map, we have a tradition to say quack. So quack in the chat, everybody. Last jump here of floor 6. It's wet plastic. I'm gonna be a bit careful. And we make it to floor 7. So floor 7 is built by the mapper Thankyou. This one has a lot of plastic. Quite reliable, but there's one trick I am terrified of. So first of all, backwards through a booster again, similar to the previous one, it's forced. And then jump onto this beam, carry here more than 150 speed, but not more than 160 to get up to this pool. Now I have to balance across a little railing here and get across. Good. Wet plastic, line up backwards in this corner, wall hug here, jump up left and slow down. And we land in the water, we're safe. This trick could go severely wrong. So just to explain what's going to happen here, plastic doesn't slow you down. And because it doesn't, you can build up a ton of speed, go upside down on plastic, and then jump really high up. But it's very precise. I need to aim here. And I might make it up to this platform. All good, okay. I'm usually not too scared of these parts now. I have 180 hours on the map, but just doing this in a live setting makes each jump feel like, you know, you feel the stakes. Okay, we make it across. All good. gonna set up here for a plastic bounce down there. And just so you know, I am fully expecting to fall at some point here. It could very well happen. But if it doesn't, that would be a miracle. Another very important thing, the mapper of this floor, Thankyou, decided to build a artwork of his cat. This is his cat up here. Doesn't really look like a cat, but you can say hello to the cat. There are boosters here, and if I go forward through them, I end up in the abyss. So I need to go sideways so that the boosters don't have that much effect, and just glide with the ice like a curling stone. Set up here so I get this one right. Slowly cross. And then bounce upside down on this plastic tile, and we're almost at floor 8. Just a few jumps left to floor 7. So I'm now going to go here, here, and this jump can fail. This next one here, but I'm able to slow down in time. This block is plastic, and since it's so steep, you actually don't have that much control over the deceleration. But this looks good. Oh no, wait. Wait, let's breathe thorough here. Okay, this looks fine. Set up for speed. And jump up to floor 8. Okay. This floor basically goes against everything I talked about. That upside down is scary. Well, here you have to do it on purpose. There's a reason this is one of the hardest maps in Trackmania, and it's the fact that you need to know everything. You need to know turtling, you need to know ice, dirt, plastic, etc. And what this is that I'm wobbling the car from side to side, and every time the front tire touches the ground, I have grip. I can accelerate and keep wobbling. And I can keep that movement going as long as I'm precise. If I ever mess up my steering input and the car stops wobbling, I lose. It's a full reset. So sketchy jump here. Onto a railing. But that looks good. It's one of these, like, deceivingly difficult jumps because it's just one block, but you can overjump it very easily. Jump into a bobsleigh here, and now we're actually going to do a skip. This was found like 1 week into the event, and it saves 30 seconds to flip and land up here. Now I'm gonna set up my car again for another upside down part, and this one is a little stupid. There's a railing. You can't drive on it normally, but you can jam the front tire into the wall and then have grip against the block that's above me. And by keeping this angle, you can drive across the railing. And then when I straighten out the car here, I can keep the wobble going. This also has a chance to go wrong, but it didn't. And the reason I now have to keep turtling is because I'm gonna unflip the car and climb over this block. You cannot climb over this block normally. Get my car up, then we're gonna build speed from this block. Over here. Drop down to this tile. And I'm gonna, okay, I usually go for this jump direct, but at this point, we're not gonna chance it all for 3 seconds saved. We're gonna go back, set up, and jump up on this tile here. And there are like certain parts of the map that are more forgiving to fail than others. This is on the very outside of the tower, there's nothing here. Also say hello to the cat, hello, blep. Gonna aim into this gap, whew, nearly clipped that block. And then the last upside down part. This is the scariest one of them all, as you'll soon see why. We do not have a lot of space to balance on here, and it gets worse. So we're now on a very thin railing, and I have to keep this wobble movement going. And it gets even thinner. So here I have to just use one set of tires and time the wobble so that they are balancing on these white blocks. Like that. And then unflip against this block. And I almost had to do it again, but the car stays on. As long as you have one wheel on this, you can always climb it, although this is going to be a bit of a slow climb. Good. Now the last sequence of jumps here are floor 8 before we make it to floor 9. Gotta get 204 speedish on this next jump is what I'm looking for. In that ballpark. Yeah, 204. And then I can make it across to here. Now we're again on the outside of the tower, but I have never failed this. You have just enough of the car on the ledge to climb up to floor 9. And now, these are the two hardest floors of this run. Like, my goal going in is to drive to floor 10. If we make it there, then we can see how far we can keep going. But that's gonna be like the finish, basically. Ooh, we have a problem. Whew. This is on purpose, to stop on this block, but I almost fell off on the left side. I forgot to explain this. Okay, we're gonna wait for the car's RPM to go to 0, bottom right, now it can go. There's a lot of manipulation with the car's gearing. It's automatic, but you can still stall the car in many ways and lose speed. I used the antenna here to go just next to that gray line to set up backwards, and it looks like it might miss the turbine, but the car gets pushed a little bit left by this block. Oh. And so it's still gonna land on it. And then I can drop the wheels here, accelerate, build up speed, go down this hill, carry enough to jump with this quarter pipe up onto this block. And we've just hit 1,000 meters, which is pretty hype. The tower in full is 2,100, so this would be basically about halfway. So now imagine like doing all this climbing, discovering all these jumps for the first time, and you're only halfway, and the mappers put the hardest floors up top. Like, this is why Deep Dip 2 is so extremely difficult, and why after a full month of the world's best Trackmania players, it still hasn't been beaten, basically. But people are approaching it now. They're on the last couple of floors. My personal best is reaching floor 14. The world record reaches floor 16, the final floor, but there's still a few jumps to go. And you just have to, if you fall at any point here, you just have to explore so far again to have another chance at that one jump you barely missed. So it's very punishing. Like, a fall from here could be down to 0. Into this tunnel, let's stop here, and then drop into this. Jump up here, and now onto this pillar. And this is actually the last jump of floor 9, so we're getting somewhere. Set up for speed here. And then jump up to floor 10. This is the final floor. And the hardest one yet. It features ice, dirt, and plastic in different ways, and you manipulate sort of the tire effects that you have. So if you have icy tires and you go onto dirt, then you can do a very sharp flick, like in those wall rides. And that's what the mappers use to force a really tight jump here, where I have to do that turn and then stabilize. That's part 1. Now you have an ice slide on a very steep hill, and if this doesn't catch grip early, I just lose. If I fall off backwards there, I insta-lose. Now, pretty lenient jump. Into another pretty lenient jump. As long as you get a lot of this downhill, a lot of downhill momentum, then you can make the jump to this water pool. But what I'm currently thinking about is the hardest jump on the floor, which is coming up in a little bit, and it is a forced 360 spin. So you have a downhill on ice with icy tires, and it's built in such a way that you can't just go straight, and the only way to carry enough speed is to first do an ice slide to the left, then an ice slide to the right, and that makes for a 360 spin. But you have to catch that, like, between point, between left and right, perfectly. If you don't do that, then you lose grip and fall off the map again, so... That is coming up right here, and I need to very much so focus on this. Now. Good. Worked. And there's a few more jump. Oh. Okay, I'm not too used to doing this backup, but I have to. Okay, wait, let's chill. Let's chill. Everybody relax. This is basically one of the last jumps. We're not at the end yet. Okay, good. Usually I'm able to keep speed here, but I had a tiny slide out, and then I couldn't continue with my regular line. We're gonna set up at the corner, and here I'm aiming for like a diamond in the sky. That one marks where this platform's at. Tiny plastic platform. This is the last jump, everybody. It would be insane to one-shot all this. I need to get about 140 here. Turn around at the red light on the right. And then aim for this tile up here. In the middle. Don't do anything stupid. And yeah. I cannot believe this, but I just one-shot everything up to floor 11, and that is time. Floor 11 starts right here. So that's pretty crazy. You can stop the timer. Now, I was given 1 hour for this, okay? So what I thought is if I hit this pretty quickly, which I happen to do now, I would just continue and try to show you how difficult this is. Because if you look, my car is here. Look how much there still is to go. Like, you might not see it so well from this angle. Floor 11 has been a huge bottleneck for the top players. Only about 10 players have gotten to this point, at maybe 15 at this point. But past 11, you're talking only like 8. And then, well, the best players have personal bests right around floor 13 here, floor 14, and the one with the dragon up here is floor 15. So, I'm gonna keep going with this. If it falls, it falls. At that point, we'll do something else. Maybe I can show you guys some floor world records and whatnot, but yeah, let me try to show you floor 11 as well. But I have no guarantee anymore, Fred, that this is gonna survive, so here we go. Okay, so the first couple of jump sequences here are very precise. I have to land here and then flick up left onto this block. And if you're looking at the height meter, by the way, my personal best is at 1500 flat. If I go beyond that here, that would be stupid. That would be very stupid. But okay. Carry speed here. I'm gonna do another lap. This jump is precise. And then I jump up here and stop. Okay, survived. 85 speed here in the start of the uphill. 84 is okay. And a sharp drop down to this quarter pipe. And then a very steep jump up into a water pool. That prevents me from being upside down. Now we're getting to the 2 hardest jumps on the floor, basically. The first one took a couple of days. The second one took about a week to solve. Like, so players would drive all the way up here, not really know what to do, and then fall down, and then try to figure out the strategy. And it's a very painstaking process when this is literally 25 minutes of driving. So, first jump is here. And I made it. The second one is even worse. And just, I mean, at this point, I don't really have to go fast. I can drive this point home. This is something interesting about the map's layout, but it's built in a spiral. So you can imagine floor 1, and then floor 2 will be like up 1 and over 1. And it goes in a spiral around. So in the middle here, there's just nothing. This is like a snake. You just fall straight down. And the mapper of floor 11 built this jump so that you can just fall right down the middle into the abyss. So that has been a bit of a pain point on the map, but now I have to do an upside down plastic glide across the map, similar to on floor 7. And I went, did I? Oh yeah, I went a little bit too far wide. Okay, and now, oh, wait. Oh no, we're gonna have to drop here. If it drops, I think it will. Now you get the real experience. You see that? Okay, we lost 300 meters. And this is floor 8. Now, I think I'm not going to continue playing deep dip. I still have some stuff I want to show you guys, but it's just going to be like going back to something toxic, you know? We got to floor 10, we beat the run. I am extremely happy, and I will happily donate $100 to charity for this fall. But guys, let me show you some other stuff that's cool. For one, I can show you the world records on each of these floors that we just drove. Floor 1 to 10, and show you all the world records. Because people, they don't necessarily like playing this map as a whole, it's very difficult, but they do like playing all the floors by themselves. So let me first show you floor 0, the very first floor. This is the most hunted one. Not the most prestigious record per se, but the one that most people start playing. And the world record on this one used to be by the Italian player Lane. But then Scumdeer also hunted it recently and improved it by over 1 second. And they basically do most of the same strategies I did, but a little bit faster. You jump to this ramp here. You then go to the right side to reduce airtime. And then there's a far jump to the right here, so you can instantly go up left. And then up into the water pool. Low airtime once again. Lane actually with a huge lead here, compared to Skandir. You can go across the jumps. But what Skandir found is a shortcut. So if you're feeling ambitious, if you're climbing this and you're thinking, dude, just getting to the top is too easy. Oh, let me also add in this right here. An ice slide, bouncing on the wall, and getting to the finish about 1 second faster. You save about 1 second on floor 1 if you want to do this. And this might take you like, you know, 10 tries to get. Lane instead has to go around here and into the finish. Both insane runs. That's floor 0. Floor 1 has also been hunted, and the world record belongs to Skandir on that one as well. And the reason I mentioned, by the way, the reason I couldn't just show you guys all the floors is because there's a huge competition going on right now. So for the first finisher of Deep Dip, I think they get at this point like $15,000 to $20,000 to be the first finisher of this. The Trackmania community has raised the big prize pool. And so they don't want anyone to practice the top floors or play maps that have them and stuff, and so that's why we only have the first 10 floors now, and the mappers periodically release floors that are sort of sold, like that everyone has sort of exhausted every strategy they need on. And so far that is only up to floor 10. But yeah, this is floor 1. Not too much has changed from how I did it. It's again just a little bit more risk-taking. Trying to go for a very fast line across this beam. And then setting up for speed early here. And if you get a lot of speed into the last jump here, then you can get a very favorable plastic bounce on this to get directly into the finish. Skandir even doing it backwards. The next floor, floor 2, has some insane skips. It's as I said, one of the hardest floors to drive. But you can make it harder if you really just want to. So we're on by Kubas. Take a look at this. I started by jumping onto the booster with the pillar. He just goes directly onto the beams and lands his car in the middle of them. Then instantly into turtle. That jump is extremely precise. Then, well, straight across here. No time to waste. You insta-go onto the right side. No time to waste setting up for speed here. You just go immediately. And then bug slide in the landing. Then you jump across to the beam. Ooh. Looks like a slow landing, but he can instantly go up this uphill and then instantly go here too. Messy jump. Gets past the goalie. And not just that, he doesn't even use the plastic tile, just insta-goes here. And now an insane strategy. Going full left to crash like this and then instantly go up the pipe. What? He's a madman. He's an absolute madman. Almost fails. Cliffhanger. But he stays on. And then final jump up. And these maps have been hunted by a lot of people, but this is one of the biggest world record margins on any floor. Kubas has this one by about 4 seconds. And this world record has stood for 25 days or something. No one's really gotten close to this. Because you would have to... Just look at this in slow-mo. Aiming this, and then that tiny beam is what you have to land on. Getting, yeah, hooked onto it. And not just that, you also probably need to copy his strategy over here. Of this jump. Hitting the wall, getting an insane spin. And then just continuing it as if it was nothing. Really, really impressive world record there by Kubas. Floor 3 world record is by a player called Society Chain. And it's exciting because we're getting a lot of new Trackmania players coming up the last couple of years. And so, I'll be very honest, I haven't heard much of Society Chain before. But I just saw, oh, he has the world record on this. And he's beaten some more household names, so always fun to see. So here, in the start, he just got a very quick line by not crashing the wall. And then he's just willing to full send it, really. Like, when I play this floor, I play it for survival. Society Chain here, he just has some places to be, places to go. And it's the same for this next part. I was setting up slowly, sort of doing the maths. He's just like, yeah, it's fine, you know. Full send. And then people try to slow down here on this next landing so that they don't crash the wall. Still crashing the wall is fine. I slide here, and now he's gonna do something insane. Instead of slowing down in this turn, you can do a spin at the jump off, land backwards, accelerate against the direction of movement, so you slow yourself down, and then start another I slide. And then getting up, and here he needs to take a very wide bug slide line to have enough speed for the last jump. And this is what I wanted to go for, but decided against, this direct jump here. And you can see why. It's precise. That's the floor 3 world record. Now, floor 4, and this is by Wolsile, who you haven't seen his name yet in these replays, but he's like top 3, top 4 in every one of these floor practice maps. And this record is very strong. When he set it, it was like 5 seconds ahead of everyone else. And then people caught up. I think second place is like a second behind this now, but it's still very close. You can directly go for this jump. And I think I did this strategy here in my run too. You can go just straight down here. And then go very close around this corner. Set up early for this uphill. And you can go very low on the quarter pipe jump too. And this is by our standards very low. Most players who play for survival, they go extremely high there. The spins, the ice 360s. Carrying speed here. Onto the beam. And then a much safer jump line here. Able to go all the way up here and instantly set up for this jump onto the grass. And then through the tunnel. And this is a very interesting thing about gears, by the way. Here, Wolsile slows down. He intentionally releases the acceleration because he doesn't want the car to shift from second to third gear. He could go a lot faster, but then the gear change would happen. It would sort of stall his car, and he'll be slower. And that's something you might not really notice, but yeah. Impressive nonetheless. Very good awareness. And that's floor 4 world record. Floor 5 world record has another shortcut, and I don't know if I can take credit for this, but I was one of the first to find this. Someone said, oh, I found the shortcut first, but there's a shortcut at the very start of this floor that we don't use. So the intended path here, if I fly up here and show you, is at the start of the floor, over here, you go, you know, onto this grass hill and do a loop around here, and then you go up onto this bobsleigh block and then over here. We found out at some point that you can save 10 seconds and probably have about a 1 in 10 survival chance if you do this jump right here. Jump, hit about the middle of the sign and land on this beam and insta-go. And then here, just full send, jump really far. People hunt to this for the record. And so the thing that's interesting is, like, if you're a supercomputer, or if you're just Bren, the best player, you can probably, on every attempt, if you start adding these strategies, save, and there are more shortcuts I'm going to show you. But on every climb up to, say, floor 11, save like 2-3 minutes. And so if you do enough runs, then this optimization can essentially get you more attempts at the top floors. However, if you fall though, if you add too much risk and you fall, then it's not worth it. So there's this balance that players do where they either feel comfortable doing a strategy or not. And there are many things like that on the next floor 6 that I'll show you as well. But here's how this is supposed to go. Instantly. And then bounce here, upside down, huge bounce, and then drive down into the water. It's the cleanest way to do it. Then there's a tiny optimization at the very end of the floor. Which is over here. Also, production. Are people still awake in the studio? I know it's like 5 AM where you guys are at, but if anyone's awake, I'm doing one more segment after this. And I mean, if anyone is up and want to keep me company, I'm down. If not, I'll hold the fort. That's floor 5. Do let me know. Floor 6 world record by Talibird. this is an absolute full send run. I just wanna show you parts of this in slow motion. You can appreciate it more. Here I just had to stop talking and focus to get the jumps right. But look at the risks Talibird here takes. Also formidable Rocket League player. So full speed through here, land, doesn't really slow down, full speed here. Jumping with a nosedive to reduce airtime. Straight through here. And then these lines are so precise. The red boosters that you see would push Tally backwards. And then you couldn't really continue. Low jump here, instantly goes for the plastic bounce. But honestly, the craziest one is here. Instantly going with icy tires. This changes your steering a lot. Makes it very hard to aim. In between the pillars. And then also here, landing and instantly going to the right. Not at all that easy. Pretty much every top player stops on that block. Instantly going here. And then on this next block, you have the option of landing in the water to prevent turtling, but Tally does a flip and then insta goes from here, which actually saves like 5-6 seconds. And these start to add up. You say, oh, what's 5 seconds in a 24-minute climb? But 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there. Suddenly you're climbing, you know, minutes faster. And then through here, you can also insta-go on this landing if you stop early enough. Get some speed from this small beam. And then once again, I am gonna need chat's help here. It would be so disrespectful. Look at this cute family of ducks. Are you really not gonna say quack to these wonderful specimen? I think you should. Quack in the chat. Also these ducks over on the left. Full speed on the wet plastic. And then into the finish. Floor 7 gets pretty crazy. Floor 7 gets pretty crazy. It's very fun to watch these though. I hope you're enjoying this. I can't see chat right now, but it's a whole different playstyle to what I was doing. And the thing in Trackmania is that we have speedrun categories where people speedrun the entire game. But more than that, the main speedrunning competition you'll see in Trackmania is often just individual levels. People grind one campaign map or one official map. These are user-made maps, but they have a lot of prestige, so people value the records on these a lot. And the competition is close. Like, first place here is by the player Wirtual, but there's other players in close proximity, only a few seconds behind. So he just insta goes through the booster here and then jumps up on the right, which carries some more risk with it. Then insta going for the plastic glide thing, which I'm gonna be honest, I did not expect to one-shot. It's very precise. Wirtual does it one better here by landing very close on the left side, and then he can build speed from here and still have enough to make this drop down, which saves maybe about 2-3 seconds. Then insta going for this plastic bounce into the pool. And then what I usually do here is I will aim for one of these Trackmania logos on the wall. Position my car and then go. He just sort of ballparks it. Says hello to Techie's cat. And then here, just... you can't really see it. Full speed blasting through these. And then going here. Now, remember this block right here, okay? Remember where we're at right now? We've just gotten out of the tunnel of floor 7, okay? And we're going up to floor 8. Just remember this. On this practice map, you have to drive to the start of floor 8. That's where the finish block was placed. So that's what Wirtual is going to do, and he's going to risk this as well. He's going to go here, insta-go up this one. Even though he clips the wheel, doesn't really care, needs the world record, just sends it. Doesn't really line this up, just insta-goes. He has places to be. And he gets to the start of floor 8, okay? Now, floor 8 world record is actually held by myself. I have the floor 8 world record. And floor 8 is a very long floor. It's at 2 minutes 45. It's the upside down floor. So let me show you guys this. Starts at the block where Wirtual left off. And then you can do the turtling parts, but just really full send. Here I'm just... this is not at all safe. You are... yeah. Not following safety regulations, okay? You're just going. And this continues for a while. So I'm going. I can put this at 2x speed. Insta jumping up on the beam, if you remember this. Then there's like a 30-second skip. Of course, I'm going to use that too. Okay, this is a little bit fast. This is going to appease the TikTok brains. Insta land and turtle here saves time. You drive on this ledge. And then you do one more turtle part. Up on this block. Set up here. I sort of even messed that up in the world record. And then you jump down to this block. Now there's just a problem here. And the problem is that there are skid marks on this block. There are skid marks on this block. If you have a keen eye, you might have noticed this. Right here. A car has already been here. And that is because Hugo, a Swedish player, discovered a massive skip on this map. And the biggest one on the map found to date. There might be bigger skips found after the entire map is completed and all the floors are out. But take a look at this. Hugo, at the start of floor 8 here, drops back down to the end of floor 7. So if he was just here earlier, where Wirtual was, and he was headed to floor 9, he could probably save another 30 seconds on top of this. Now look at what he's about to do. Goes up the loop, bounces on the plastic tile, but goes out to the side and lands on this curved beam. That's not all. Afterwards, you drive on this curved beam, climb over it, and drop down onto another beam here. And then you save almost 2 minutes. Which in this game is a huge margin. 2 minutes. And then you do the rest of floor 8 as intended. Do the rest of floor 8 as intended. But Hugo also full sent this, and I'm going to show you in full. Just blasting through here. Jumping up into the gap. And then getting his wheels on this block so he can flip the car upside down. And then he, what's so impressive about this run to me is that after landing that skip, he didn't get, like, nervous. Or he probably did. But he kept his nerves under control. Like, he is really driving faster here than what I was, for example. This is a very fast turtle part. And then not only that, he also decides to go for a direct line here. Doesn't stop, doesn't go back for more speed, just, yeah, I can manage it. Shaky landing and pretty bad speed here. What this means is that with only 200 speed, he needs a perfect jump to the right. And he gets it. He gets it and drives to the floor 9. And so he did it in 1 minute 41. I, with the normal way, did it in 2 minutes 45. But Hugo could have saved another 30 seconds if he got to start from floor 7. So, about 1.5 to 2 minutes saved. Insane skip. Just mental skip on floor 8. Floor 9 world record belongs to Talibird. And it's another one of these beautiful full send runs where you have no concern for safety. It's just about getting record. And this is another huge margin. Talibird has this world record by 13 seconds. So right at the start of this floor, instead of stopping on the block, you can jump past that little obstacle and insta-go. Not very safe. You can also just do this without a setup, but it requires a bounce there. And already you are introducing so much chaos into an otherwise perfect recipe. Like the strategies that I've landed on and others have landed on is sort of based on the mistakes of others too. Like, oh, this failed for that player in this example. And so you learn from each other and you work out like a method that is very consistent to drive the map. But yeah, Tally is sort of challenging that here and just saying, yeah, I'm gonna do this my way, and it's gonna be very fast. It's gonna be very, very fast. Lands here, climbs up on the block, small drift to get around the hole, and then insta-go. You need 230. Looks good. Climbing up.
The halfway mark.
Activating the voice line. There's also voice lines on this map, I forgot to say, but yeah. Glass half empty or glass half full person. Which one are you? Climb up on the block. And then drop down, and you got floor 10. Now the floor 10 map has not been grinded too much yet. It was released last night, so the world record might not be that optimized, but the world record is by the mapper Maverick, him or herself, or themselves, and it's very fast. Like, the mapper drives this better than any of the top players. Starting with an ice slide through here into an instant commit for the next jump. Something none of us thought to do. We all sort of stop there and go slowly. Then jumping across here and insta going to the right. Doesn't need the platform. Insta ice slide here. Instantly going for this next jump. And there are like limits to how much you want to add. Like, I think a lot of the stuff Maverick does here is things I would never add for myself when I'm going to try to beat the rest of Deep Dip. But it does look fancy. Very fancy. And this is also just stuff like humans can do, you know? Here, directly going for this with the dirt boost. So there's stuff on this map that, like, to see it optimized either by a segmented run or by a tool-assisted run, or even just by a world record at some point. There's actually something I want to do, and maybe this is crazy. I want to ask permission for it from production, but this is Deep Dip 2. And you might think, well, who on earth would add all these crazy elements to a map this difficult? But the world record on Deep Dip 1 already does. Can I, production, show the world record on Deep Dip 1? And then there's one more thing I want to do after. Would that be cool? It's a really impressive run. Like, it is a really impressive run. I think if you're in chat right now and you want to see something that is very PogChamp and very exciting, I think Deep Dip 1 world record is one of the most beautiful runs we have in this game.